Hello guys, welcome back to my page. I remain my humble self, Ike. If you are coming across for the first time, do the needful by liking, drop a comment at the comment section, share the video so that Facebook will recommend this video to others, and also try to follow and subscribe. As update master, the updates we have is that yesterday P2B held a live program with other obidents. On this live program P2B held with other obident members, he spoke on the role we Nigerians need to play to have a new Nigeria, because this is not a role for one person to play. Everyone needs to play that role. But for me, that particular role to get a new Nigeria must start from the head, because I can remember, I think yesterday I posted a video where I said that one of the steps that we need to take to have this a new Nigeria is to restructure Nigeria. You get the point? Even if the court was able to give P2B his mandate, which all of us know that all Nigerians gave to him, and he entered the seat and decided not to restructure Nigeria, P2B will not also get to make Nigeria work. But in this interview, which I would like us to listen very well and watch to the end, he spoke about the judiciary, also said extensively that he's not desperate to become the president of Nigeria, but he's desperate to see Nigeria work, like you and me also want Nigeria to work. You get the point? And he also spoke about the rumor that is going around that Labour Party and other party, opposition party, want to march together for 2027 to have a stronger party that will challenge the party in power. Try to watch the video and watch it to the end so that you get the full gist of what happened in this life. As you're watching it, try to share the video, drop your comments at the comment section. Remember to follow and subscribe to my channel. We move. I remain my humble self, the Ike Man. Regardless, we move.
And how we will get on doing it as we go on in the future. But thank you. Let me allow the program to go on.
Very much, Your Excellency. It's a great pleasure to have you here today. So, ladies and gentlemen, days ago we made a request for people to post their questions they would like to ask His Excellency here today. And from those questions, we're able to glean and curate some which we will be asking here today. I and my co-host will take turns asking some of those questions while also taking a few more live from the timeline, after which we'll open the floor for people to ask their questions live. So let's set the ball rolling. Your Excellency, my first question is, how will electoral and judicial reforms be pushed through in light of Labour Party's presence in the National Assembly? And what is Labour Party's legislative agenda? And what is your own role in monitoring this? Thank you.
Oh, this one is a tough one. Well, let me thank you for your question. Today is not just Labour Party, but every Nigerian is talking about issue of change with regards to the area where you mentioned. What is Labour Party agenda, legislative agenda? Quite frankly, all I can say is that I'm beginning to talk with the legislators who are from Labour Party to discuss and agree on areas, what we need to do to ensure that this our democracy is sustainable in terms of doing the right things, making sure that we always stand on the path of right things. But as you know, it is a bit difficult considering that Labour is just in the Senate, it's just about 7 of them. In the lower house, there's just about 30 something, considering the number of the ruling party and the main opposition party. However, I believe that now they're through with all their court cases and everything. We will be talking more to see how we can stand on what is most important and beneficial to Nigerians, to the people. And that has been my preaching to them. And in our last two meetings, I believe it went very well. Even when it is difficult, what is going on, we're going in the right direction. And I believe it will continue to push. Labour will be able to have their own legislative agenda that will be for the benefit of people. On the electoral reforms, like I said, most Nigerians have been seeing now that whatever we have been able to achieve with the last reforms did not in any way impact on the election, because it's as if all those achievements were thrown away with all that happened with the elections. I assure you, we're not just only us on that one. Most Nigerians are. Because it's as if all those achievements were thrown away.
Okay. Thank you very much, Your Excellency, for that very wonderful response.
We're not just only us on that one. Most Nigerians are.
Okay.
I think there's some connectivity issue. Can you hear us, Miss Pearls? Okay. Maybe Mrs. Bolanle, can you go ahead with your question, please?
Yeah, sure. Your Excellency, I know as per your traditions during this time of the year, you're probably getting ready to spend time at one of the many IDP camps in our country. What should be done to resettle our fellow Nigerians who have been stuck in these camps with no government support and no plans to better their situation?
Well, quite frankly, it's a very regrettable position that Nigerians should live in a refugee camp in their own country when we are not at war. It is very, very regrettable. And I said it when we were campaigning. If we had opportunity, we would have aggressively tried to resettle them. We would have aggressively tried to care more about them and everything. Because when I visited most of them last year, all they wanted to hear is that they will go back to their community. That is the most important thing to them. And I think this is where government should concentrate. And that is why I've been on the forefront of criticizing government priorities. Because our priority today should be how to care for those that are suffering. Those in IDP camp, the poor ones who don't know where the next meal will come from. That should be our concentration today. Not on trying to see that those who are already living well are even getting more, when millions of people don't know where the next meal will come from. So for me, it is to continue to push through the various agencies of government by advocacy that these people needs to go back. Luckily, someone like Ireti, who went with me to 2 camps last year, is not a senator. So she will continue to push. We'll discuss all this. This is time we now have opportunity to talk about this people. So that's what we should be doing.
Okay, thank you very much, Your Excellency, for your response. I'll pass the mic over now to Arewachik for her question.
All right, thank you very much, Ms. Bells. And my question today is the FCT minister said that contract for VP's house was awarded in 2010 by President Jonathan's government at the cost of 7 billion naira, and the project was abandoned. That the present government only want to continue to complete the project at revalued cost of 15 billion naira. What is your take on this, sir? And in reference to, let's make reference to especially the budget that was put out there for newspapers for different government parastatals. What's your take, sir? Thank you.
Well, that issue of the VP's house has been one in which have been called names by people, by the VP himself and by the minister, that I'm talking nonsense because I criticized it and I remain totally where on my stand that it is not a priority. It is totally not a priority. You see, I agree it was awarded in 2009, 2010 by Jonathan's government. But what makes a responsible government is that at the time you assume office, you should be able to listen to the people. Governance should be demand-driven. Listen to the people, look at the needs of the people, prioritize the needs of the people. In this prioritization, you may have to abandon what has already been started, looking at the priorities that you need to tackle as quickly as possible. In 2009, 2010, when that project was started, things were not as bad as it is today. If you recall, let me give you an example. In 2009, 2010, a bag of rice is 7,000, 7,500. Today is 60,000. So you have it 8 times worse. And remember, people's salary have not changed. It's a similar salary within this period. And then you have a situation where they have had 8 times increase just using bag of rice. A loaf of bread in 2009, 2010 is between 100 to 150 naira. Today, a loaf of bread for 400 gram is 1,000 naira. So you could see the change. Transport, if you're going from, say, Lagos to Abuja or Onitsha, where I live, to Abuja, in 2010, 2010, you're going to be paying about 10,000. Today, you're talking about 20 something. So everything, if you're those who can afford to fly, it was 15,000 then. Now it's 100 and something thousand. So things have changed drastically. In 2009, I bought buses. Nissan buses that I gave, innocent buses that just in 2010, I bought them about 5 million naira. Today, those buses are selling for something, 50 million naira. So this has changed drastically. We have less than 70 million Nigerians living in poverty in 2009, 2010. Today, Nigerians that live under poverty, World Bank I just reported a few days ago, is 104. Multidimensional poverty have increased to about 140 something. I can go on and on. You can't compare that time and today. Things has gotten worse. There's critical areas. Our inflation have moved from a single digit to now we're almost hitting 30 something because prices of food have gone up drastically. Unemployment in 2009 was about between 10-12%. Today, you have unemployment hitting almost 40%. You could see the situation you find yourself. Our GDP per capita have collapsed. Comparably in 2009, 2010, we were better than, we are at par with countries like Vietnam, even Indonesia, Bangladesh was below us, Philippines. But today they've also passed us. Things has gotten worse. So you have to look at your priority, reorganize your priority. You don't go and start doing things that you used to do when you have privilege of eating a buffet, when you have very tiny money to just buy yourself a very basic a la carte. So you go for it. We cannot be talking about building a new house now for somebody who already have a house, or renovating a house, like it's in various budgets where we're renovating houses, not even in Abuja, in Lagos, in this and that and that. You don't need that. If a president or vice president of Nigeria visits Enugu, Lagos, anywhere, for God's sake, if there's no place for him, he will stay in a hotel. When President Obama travels President Biden travels from Washington to New York, he stays in a hotel. If he travels to Washington, to LA, Los Angeles, he stays in a hotel. If he goes to Atlanta, he stays in a hotel. We must not have building everywhere. After how many times do they go there? So if they go there, if they don't see any place to stay, they stay in a hotel for a few days. All these billions we have now should be invested in critical areas of development, which is number one, health, number two, education, number three, pulling people out of poverty. Imagine what 15 billion naira can do to improve our primary health care. Imagine what 15 billion naira can do if you give it to National Hospital to invest in their equipment. Imagine what you would do if you share it to major teaching hospitals of Zaria, Ibadan, Enugu, all. So there's so many things we can use it to do that is important now. Imagine what it can do in our area of education, basic education. Imagine what you can do if you decide to use it to pull people out of poverty by investing it in SMEs. There's so much you can achieve with that. And that is why I said, no, not now. We don't need it now. We can use it for something else that will go a long way in helping the nation. That is my understand by it. You should reprioritize it. I have been in that situation. When I became governor of Anambra State, go ask anybody. We have a big, I think Governor Soludo is trying to complete it now. We have a major project which is supposed to be governor's lodge, government office, everything. When they brought it to me, I said, listen, we can't embark on this for now. We have critical things to do. I recall telling somebody, because within 1 month I became governor, Nigerian Legal Council shut down our faculty of law in our state university. And I recall telling somebody, look at it now, our faculty of law is shut down, and you're talking about going to continue building that lodge. Now, since there's none available, I'm going to renovate what is there presently, renovate the office that is there presently, and go ahead aggressively and see that all these facilities are there. I built that faculty of law, which again will require improvements as time go on. I built it under 1 year just to make sure that those students We're not thrown out of school. And there's so many other things that was happening then that we needed to do. We needed to do some critical things, including opening up rural areas so farmers can sell their goods at a better price and everything, than going to talk about accommodation, renovation, and buying vehicles. So that's what my criticism. And there's so many other items like that in the budget, which, like I said, I'm taking the budget one after the other.
Okay, thank you very much, Your Excellency. Before we proceed, I would like to appeal to everyone here. Please do well to share this space on your various social media platforms, Facebook, Instagram, everywhere you belong. Do well to share this space. The more, the merrier. Let's get more people in here. So I'll pass the mic over now to Gloria to ask her question.
Thank you very much, Ms. Pearls, and thank you, Your Excellency, for addressing the elephant in the room. We all know about the drastic changes in the economy. It's no secret that Nigeria is currently grappling with a series of unprecedented economic challenges. Now, some experts have even stated and claimed that Nigeria is on the brink of bankruptcy. If you were in the position of the president, what strategies would you have implemented to navigate these difficulties, Your Excellency?
Even the present government said they inherited bankruptcy. So it's not just some experts. Everybody have agreed that we're bankrupt, and everybody knows we're bankrupt. If you're going to use almost 100% of your revenue to service debts, what else you need to know that you're bankrupt? First is that a bankrupt person has to behave like a bankrupt person. And the first thing you do is to cut your costs. You cut your cost. You do things that shows responsibility of going through difficulty. The way we're going today is not the way somebody who is bankrupt or near bankrupt should be going. I've said it repeatedly. The cost of governance in Nigeria is criminal. There's too much waste. Those wastes have to be cut off. And you've seen me complaining it, whether it's going to United Nations or going to COP in Dubai or doing this. All these things people think is it. I'm saying this because I practice it at a lower level, subnational level, where you have difficulties that you have to manage your resources more efficiently. Ensure that you invest more in productive area in order to be able to manage your situation. Today we're borrowing money. A country in 2007, when President Obasanjo became president in 1999, Nigeria was owing about $29 billion. By the time he left, we were down to below $2 billion. Today, our dollar debt is about 47 billion. And then you have, by the time you add the local currency, we now have almost 100 billion debts in our hand. And we're borrowing more. And you're borrowing this money. The reason why all this borrowed money is not giving us problem is because we didn't invest it. We didn't put it into critical development areas. It was for consumption. So for me, the first thing to do is to apply the brakes on this consumption completely and focus on ensuring that all borrowed money are used in critical areas of development that is productive, that will impact on growth. Because that's the only way you can start turning things around in order to be able to generate more revenue, service these debts, reduce it, and everything. So for me, First is that we have to cut aggressively cost of governance.
Okay, thank you very much, Your Excellency. Gloria, can we have one more question from the timeline?
Absolutely. Now, prior to the 2023 elections, we know there was an unprecedented surge of adrenaline among the youth in Nigeria and even throughout Africa. And this marked a significant impact on the political landscape. However, post elections, there's been a noticeable shift towards voter apathy, despondency, and disillusionment. And this brings me to a question from somebody in the audience at Lord Tyrion 4. He's asking, Dear Peter Obi, how are you going to revive and sustain the interest of first-time young voters in the electoral process given the last elections? What do you expect Obedience to do? Are you setting up a system to sustain and build momentum?
Thank you very much. What I'm doing, let me just say it. I wish this is something where I'm speaking to them in video and everybody can see me. And it's just to say to them, I'm kneeling down and begging you, don't get disillusioned. That's what they want to achieve. What they want to achieve is that we get disillusioned and walk away, and they'll be happy. We will continue with what we're able to achieve. In no time, we'll dismantle this criminality. We will be worse off for it. The monies your country is borrowing today, you are the one going to pay it. Most of us who are borrowing it are in their 70s and 80s. If you look at bonds Nigeria is issuing, there are bonds that will be payable 2046, 2048, 2050, 2060 something. None of us will be there. So this is a time from what you have achieved. This is time for us to stay together, sacrifice more. If I tell you personally what I go through, you will say to me, why do you want to continue this? Every single day, I'm going through one form of harassment, intimidation, everything. But I say to anybody who cares, no, there's no way we can abandon this. We must, for the sake of you, the young ones, for the sake of our children, for the sake of humanity, please, I'm kneeling and I'm begging you, we will stay together until we dismantle this criminality. Nigeria can be one of the greatest country on the surface of the earth, just like it's all over Africa. But you cannot continue with the leadership we found ourselves today, where people do not care. There's no other country where you have over 50% of its population living in poverty and its leaders are still behaving as if things are normal. We're in a crisis situation. So do not walk away. Let's stay together. Of course, for me, be rest assured, I'm committed to it, and I will be moving around. We've started talking now. I said that beginning next year, we'll move around, say thank you to people, find people where they are, be able to say thank you, and be able to encourage them. I know the journey is difficult. I know that we are starved. I know that we're everything, but please, let's continue.
Thank you very much, Your
Thank you
Excellency.
very much, Your Excellency. So, guys, before we proceed, I would like to make an appeal again. Please and please and please, we have almost 7,000 people here, over 6,000 people actually. Please do well to retweet this space. Retweet this space right now. Let's get more people in here. Retweet, retweet, and retweet this space and share the link to other social media platforms you belong. Thank you guys. Please retweet the space. Your Excellency, thank you very much for all your wonderful response to the questions. My next question has to do with labor. So how do you intend to reform Labour Party? Because right now it just feels like Labour is like every other political party. So people feel like the old order needs to be dismantled and a reform needs to take place. So how do you intend to do this? Thank you.
Well, let me tell you on issue of labor. Labor Party is I'm not directly in control or running Labor Party. I'm just a member of Labor Party like every other person is. Like every other person is. Like every other person is. I'm just a member of Labor Party. I'm not. I'm not running Labor. I'm not the chairman. I'm not a member of a national working committee. So I don't even have a vote within Labour Party. I've seen people who said, I've seen people who said Labour Party that if Peter Obi cannot manage Labour Party, how can he manage Nigeria? And I said to them, I'm not in charge of Labour Party. I'm not the chairman of Labour Party. I'm just a member. It has nothing to do with issue of my office. If I'm the president of Nigeria or governor, or like when I became governor, I was in charge. I was able to say, these are my commissioners, these are the things that I want to do. And I went on and did them. In Labour Party, I don't have that type of powers. Everything that happens in Labour Party is done by the managers of Labour, which includes the chairman and his team. But let me tell you, and I'm appealing to people, Labour Party is not our problem. I have passed through party. When I joined APGA, when I was governor, nobody knew anything about APGA. It was just a small party. When we were in court, we had a problem. People were saying the same thing. If P2B cannot deal with APGA, how can he manage? If he cannot unite people in APGA who are quarreling, if he cannot solve it, how is he going to govern Anambra State? When I became governor, it was a totally different show. APGA was not the problem. It became Peter Obi. For example, if today I was in government, Labour will not tell me how to cut costs. They will not tell me, they will not say, oh, we're going to pursue this policy in education. They will say no. If I say we're going to do this to put people out, they're not going to say no. So these are the direct responsibility that would have been able to be achieved if I had succeeded. If Labour would not stop it, APGA did not stop me from investing, returning school to the original owner. They didn't stop me from doing what I did, cutting costs of governance, saying that nobody should travel with me, nobody should do this, we're not going to buy a bulletproof car, we're not going to. APGA was not involved. So it is same thing that would have been happening if I decide to travel to to go to, say, United Nations